Good afternoon, everyone. Well, for the first time, I think this year, I don't have any cancellations or continuances that I have to announce for anybody that might be in the room. Just going to take care of our executive session. First, I need a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting. I need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Need a second?
I'll second.
All right, Christine seconds. All in favor? We'll start with Christine first.
Yes.
Katie? Harold?
I abstain.
Just say yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Just say yes. And I am yes. You can't abstain. Just say yes. All right, so that motion is approved. Second, I need a motion to approve the secretary's fees. Motion to approve?
I'll motion.
I'll second.
All right, Christine first, Harold seconds. Christine?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Harold?
Yes.
And I am a yes. We are finished off with that. So I'll close the executive session. That's taken care of. I don't know if I'm counting in front of me. Do we have everybody, Matt?
Yes, all four are here.
All four are here?
Yes.
So I'm just gonna do a little informal thing.
Okay.
Keep this very simple. If there is any question as to what your hardship is, just kind of look confused and maybe someone up here will help you in the course of the questions, okay? If there's opposition to your application, they're gonna get to speak, you get to answer. Keep your answer to questions raised by the person with the objection, okay? It's not time to go through everything else again. Just answer the questions, okay? If you are here as an objection, there are things we don't talk about here. We don't talk about traffic, we don't talk about light, we don't talk about noise. None of these things are under our purview. So if those are the basis of your objection, we're not here to litigate any of those issues. Okay? It's very, very simple. We're here because people voted us in to look after the comprehensive zoning plan. All right, so that means tell us what your hardship is, tell us what you're looking to do. We're human. But because you want to be able to grow your family or, all the wonderful things that you want to do with your property are far less the concern in terms of the granting or denial of an application. So just kind of stick to the points if you can. I don't mean to cut anybody's presentation in half or make you rethink it, but the more concise you are in terms of your hardship and what you're trying to accomplish, probably the better off. All right? As soon as our fifth counterpart gets here, I'll read the formal thing and we'll get going. All right?
Respond to you or no?
Somebody sent me a text message. Nope,
There he is.
Oh, there he is. We went ahead and got the executive session done, so we can just jump right into the ballgame. All right. Didn't mean to deprive you of any votes, but when unanimity is relatively assured, we can save some time. And we have to wait 5 minutes from now anyway for the regular session.
part of me wonders if that fire will ameliorate any traffic between like Westport and New Haven.
There's a bridge burned
No,
down.
because
what I
what's
mean?
gonna happen is everybody's gonna go up 84 and then they're gonna shoot down Route 8. It's gonna
It
clog
didn't
up.
increase anything on Route 8 today. Well,
Is it,
not
but
yet.
The road's not, is the road like destroyed? Like,
Shut down,
Shut
Yeah,
down
yeah.
because of the bridge.
but how long is it shut down for now?
3 to 5 days. Could be longer if they tear the bridge down. Which they're gonna do.
I was just gonna see my uncle in Norwalk today. I'm like, what? You know?
Yeah.
Get there.
Up on a boat.
I think it's in Norwalk.
Right.
I think it's like, it's Norwalk.
No, if you go up through Greenfield Hill,
Or you can go,
Yeah,
136 will take you south and then you can go up,
you can go,
53
yeah.
off the Merritt Parkway.
you
Go
go
down
50
7.
you can go 53, you can go up Congress.
Merritt Park, Merritt, disaster.
Yeah, but you can go up like Congress
Oh, yeah, I'll figure it
and
out.
go up through that way and then shoot across to,
Yeah,
Reading
What a crazy,
Easton.
crazy
Yep.
to
situation.
Winston and then down.
and then down.
136 will be a little, too.
Alright.
Well, the only good thing is if you know any of the lower end back roads, because if it's below a 20-mile-an-hour speed limit or anything in between it won't be on Waze.
Yeah, but you don't wanna go down, some of those other roads, you'll be sitting there forever.
Yeah, some of them, if people know about them. It's a tricky little,
There'll be some neighborhoods getting traffic that they haven't seen before.
All right,
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
maybe now's a good time to put up those open houses that haven't been selling.
Alright. Be interesting. I don't know, there's no houses that aren't selling.
It's true.
I was gonna say, is that even a
I haven't
thing
seen one
still?
lately.
Is that even a thing
There's something
still?
going on in West. Not that, someone made an offer before it came up,
Alright,
160.
got one more minute, Matt?
You
have to
gotta wait till
stick to
3,
that.
yeah, wait till 3.
Gotcha. Three o'clock by my watch. What do you think, ladies and gentlemen?
Yep.
Outstanding. So I get to read my script first. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Zoning Board of Appeals. It is May 2nd, 2024. First things first, when a matter is first called, the applicant or his or her agent will present the case. Once the call is complete, that's when I read your call, originals of any petitions should be given to our clerk, Jody. Copies of the petitions should then be distributed to the board members. After the applicant's presentation, all interested persons in favor of the application will come forward and speak. After those in favor have spoken, those in opposition will then be heard. The applicant or his or her agent may then address the comments made by those in opposition. That's where I stated, please keep your comments to those questions or concerns raised. Second, this meeting is being taped as required by law. It is important that we be able to understand the tape. Therefore, only one person may speak at a time, and anyone who speaks must come forward, speak into the microphone, and give his or her name and address for the record. We welcome the comments of all interested persons, but we must exercise discretion in making sure that your comments are on the point. If you are too far off the point, I reserve my right as chair to restrict your comments at any time. Third, applicants and interested persons may remain in attendance after the public hearing for the executive session to find out what is decided. Or you may call the zoning office tomorrow morning to find out what was decided. Fourth, if any application for a waiver is granted, the waiver is not valid if the notice is not recorded. The applicant must bring a check in the amount of $60 made out to the town of Fairfield to the zoning office on Wednesday or later following the meeting for proper recording of the notice of filing. Any waiver involving construction of a new dwelling, an addition, or exterior alterations will require an as-built survey prior to the issuance of a certificate of zoning compliance and a certificate of occupancy. Expectation of decorum is very, very simple. Don't speak unless spoken to. Be civil, be polite. If there are any questions, we will get to you. And again, keep those comments and keep those concerns or objections to the point, and more to the point, to areas in which this board is concerned, which does not include traffic, lighting, noise, or any other things dealt with by other boards. Okay? So first on the docket for the day is 184 Figler Avenue, map 126, parcel 375. The petition of Suman and Kirsten Cho for a variance of the zoning regulation, section 5.2.4, to reduce the street line setback from 30 feet, currently 25.7 feet, proposing 29.7 feet, permission to construct a second floor addition with attic over existing first floor. Premises is A zone. Yeah, if you have the originals, give them to Jody. If you want to pass the rest out to us, that's great. Okay. We leave you.
So I'm Kirsten Cho, address is 184 Figler Avenue.
These are copies, these are original.
Oh,
We can't have all these. Those go to Jody.
You can look at them.
Okay. Do you, anybody else want to see them? Okay, we're good. You're up.
Our hardship is a pre-existing non-conforming house. Our house is a 1940s era cape that includes a small bump out for our front entryway, which makes our first floor currently 25.7 feet from the street line. We're looking at a second floor and attic over the first floor, over only the main house. So the part that we will be adding to the house will be 29.7 feet from the street line. The existing front and side foundations and exterior walls will not be moved. Thank you for your time and consideration. Answer any questions.
Fantastic. Does the board have any questions?
I don't.
Seeing none, no. Go ahead, Joe.
So, you're actually taking part of the existing house away to reduce the setback, or to increase the setback from 25.7 to 29.7?
No.
Go ahead.
Bill Levy, architect. The,
Address, Bill.
oh,
Just need your
184
address.
or my address?
Yes, your address.
101 Millard Street. Perfect.
Thank you.
The first floor bump out is staying. The second floor is where it hits the 29.7. So the 25 is technically staying, but the second floor is the 29.7.
Okay, and that's flush
With
with the
the
existing.
main house.
Okay, so the street line setback will still be 25.7 feet.
Not the first floor.
Yeah.
I actually have a question for Matt. Matt, does that?
Go ahead.
It's a party. ZBA. So are they or are they not ameliorating the?
No, the
Setback.
first floor vestibule stays as is.
Okay.
The only variance you're seeking is the one over the primary portion of the house, which is less than 30 feet. And they're doing a second floor on top of that,
Okay,
and that's less than 30 feet, and that's what they're seeking the waiver on. They're not touching the front vestibule or the front porch.
I got you. So the setback on the the setback on the dwelling, the closest is still 25.7
It
feet.
is, yes, but, and that's how I wrote it up, as such, but they're not touching that part, they're touching the 29.7. So they need a waiver because they're still within the 30-foot setback.
Right, and they're pre-existing non-conforming, hence their hardship, which is fine. I just want to make sure I just want to be clear on the way it's written up.
Yep.
That's fine, that works. Okay, any other questions for the board? Seeing none, hearing none. Is there anyone in the room or online who wishes to speak in favor of this application? Seeing none and hearing none, is there anyone here to speak in opposition to this application? Seeing none and hearing none, we'll go ahead and close the hearing. Number 2, 176 Hurd Street, map 182, parcel 1755. Petition of Timothy F. Wagner for variance of the zoning regulation section 5.2.5 to increase the lot coverage from 30%, currently 31.6%, proposing 33.5%, permission to construct a new front porch, premises is B zoned.
It's me.
Thank you very
I don't
much.
know, I was supposed to bring pictures, but this is what I have.
Will serve, step up.
So, Timothy Wagner, we live at 176 Hurd Street. We put a front porch on the front of our house, obviously, it's redundant. I'm not really unsure what the hardship is. I was a little confused about that, but one thing will be nice about right now is when we try to sit out in the back, it's too hot. So if we sit out front in a covered porch, it'll be comfortable, we'll be able to, stay out in nature.
Okay. So,
Is your lot, well, are you allowed to ask
I-
questions? Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, go ahead and ask your question,
I'm
because
trying
you're
to
gonna
go-
ask the same
I'm
question
trying to
I
go
am.
survey.
Your current condition, you have what we would call a pre-existing non-conforming lot. So would you say that that's your hardship?
Thank you very much.
It's
So
based on the square,
Oh,
I thought it was
isn't the maximum coverage,
30%.
the statute is it can't be more than 20%,
No. In this zone, it's 30%.
30%?
That's, if you look in the call. 30% is allotted, it's currently 31.6%, he's proposing 33.5%.
Thank you.
We're just looking through some maps really quickly.
This is slow. No,
Yep.
not conforming. Wait a minute, what?
Square and frontage.
Oh, okay, yes,
Square and frontage.
thank you. Well, thank you.
I have a question.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Is this going to be a covered porch
Yes, sir.
in the front of the house?
Yes. We moved the stairs to the side. Well, I shouldn't ask a question, it wasn't asked. Sorry.
Never a bad thing, but not, not gonna hurt you. Okay, so if the board has no further questions,
Can you just, you told the applicant that he has a existing non-conforming lot, right?
he has a pre-existing non-conforming lot, yes.
Okay, so could you just, for his sake and all of ours, tell us why? Like, where is he a pre-existing non-conforming lot?
The square and the frontage are under on his lot.
So the frontage, you mean the setback, right?
Frontage.
No, frontage.
So what is the frontage now?
The frontage isn't gonna change, he has,
I know, I just wanna see it, you know that schedule we always get on the,
It's on there. Yeah, it's on there, Christine, on the
Right.
survey.
Yeah, can we bring it up so we can look at it? I think you have it, right?
It's on
Right
there,
there.
it's on there.
Yes.
Yep.
What is it now?
just pull it, Matt, if you pull it up so she can see it on her
They need a
screen.
60-foot square and they only have 50.
And they only have 50.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
his, okay, so
So
his
she can read it.
didn't know what his hardship was,
Now he does.
Now he does,
but he didn't know.
which is fine.
Yeah.
Not everybody knows exactly what it is.
Oh, I'm just saying that if he went through the application process, I'm sure he was told that, right?
It-
Yeah, okay.
Possible, but sometimes we provide a little guidance, which is okay.
No, I'm not asking questions with that. Thank you.
Okay. So is there anyone here wishing to speak in favor of it? I think I already did this part. No? Anyone here or online wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing none and hearing none, application is closed. Thank you very much. On to number 3, 145 Mills Paw Drive, map 147, parcel 219, petition of Carlos and Kevin Okar for a variance of the zoning regulation, section 5.2.4, to reduce the second street line on a corner lot from 22 feet, currently 19.5 feet, proposing 19.5 feet. Permission to construct a 2-story and second floor addition. A premises is A zone. Introduce yourself.
Good afternoon. My name is Carlos Pauker, 145 Millsport Drive, Fairfield, Connecticut. My hardship is that my property is currently non-conforming. I believe the existing required setback is the 22 feet, and the property existing has a setback of 19.5. I would like to extend the northeast corner of the property front to match up and make it into a perfect rectangle and build the second floor story on top of that. And the variance is, the setback is the hardship that I am facing in order to do that.
Okay. Does the board have any questions?
What is the hardship?
The setback.
Pre-existing nonconformity.
Oh, okay. Got it. Okay.
Any other questions from the board? Seeing none and hearing none, is there anyone in the room who wishes to speak in favor of the application or online? Seeing none and hearing none of those, anyone here to speak in opposition to the application? Seeing none and hearing none, close that hearing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Number 4, 254 Puritan Road, map 139, parcel 150, petition of David and Stephanie Solomon for a variance of the zoning regulations, section 5.2.5, to increase lot coverage from 20%, currently 20%, proposing 23.3%, permission to construct an elevated deck to a FEMA-compliant home. Premises is A zone.
Can I hand these?
Absolutely.
And then my copies?
Oh, see?
There's a little stack. Thank you.
Sure, thanks.
Stephanie Solomon, homeowner, 254 Puritan. So our home was originally built in 1946, and then it was rebuilt to be FEMA compliant in 2013. Because of the FEMA compliance, we have to have an elevation of 12 feet, and our elevation is currently at 14.6 feet. So she's tall up there, and as with all areas in the flood zone, with all homes in the flood zone, areas that are counted for coverage, like mechanical platforms, front and rear elevated porches with an extra 4 to 5 feet of stairs, are not counted towards lot coverage in non-flood areas. So because we are in the flood area, it does count to be elevated. We currently have an at-grade patio, basically right under our proposed deck, and we are simply wanting to add the deck off of our main living space so that we have access to a little bit of outdoor without having to be 15 steps down. And although being in a flood zone, this is not a textbook hardship, we believe that constructing this patio and not creating any additional impervious coverage on our lot or land or any impact to the environment or surroundings, it would allow us to better serve our elderly and aging parents, as well as our 3 children, even down to our 2 dogs who I don't like to leave alone in an open yard with all the foxes. So that was pretty much it. The only other details I can provide are that there's really no roofing or any other structure like stairs as a part of this. It's just the platform.
Okay. Does the board have any questions?
I'm not quite sure I understand the hardship.
Well, they have a, I want to go back and just double check my.
It's non-compliant lot? It's,
No, it's a conforming lot. It's a conforming structure.
It's under a quarter of an acre,
Well, it's a conforming lot.
okay?
It's a conforming structure. It was built quite literally like to the specification when it was built, because it's right on the coverage. So this is, how else to describe it, but it's something that the homeowner would desire, which we do have the purview as a board to hear. And then rule accordingly.
I'll ask a question. Have you discussed with your architect or designer if it's possible to keep it within the 20% coverage? To eliminate the 3.3% overage?
It's not possible because we're at the 20%, just as it is.
They would have to literally cut something off of their house.
This would be extending outside the house structure currently?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
From the designer who did the deck.
So, let's just, are there any other questions from the board?
No.
To know why he was.
No? Okay.
I answered him already.
Joe, any other questions? Anybody else? Okay. Is there anyone in the room or online who wishes to speak in favor of this application? Is there anyone in the room or online who wishes to oppose this application? Seeing none and hearing none, call the hearing to a close. Thank you very much. I can't imagine that it's the case, but does anybody need 5 minutes to take a quick walk? We're gonna set a land speed record here. Okay, so given that the applications are now closed, we're going to enter our executive session. I'm going to simply inform everyone in the room that this is no longer a time to comment, wince, otherwise ask or request questions answered. This is just our deliberation time that we are inviting you to hear because it's, if nothing else, educational for how we make our decision, and if you disagree, it's all a matter of public record anyway, okay? One of these days I'm gonna figure out what that is, because I still don't believe it's the air handling. I know it is, but I don't wanna believe it. It sounds like perfect audio feedback.
It is.
It's so strange. Okay, so let's start with number 1. 184 Figler Avenue, map 126, parcel 375. Petition of Suman and Kirsten Cho for a variance of the zoning regulation, section 5.2.4, to reduce the street line setback from 30 feet, currently 25.7 feet, proposing 29.7 feet. Permission to construct a second floor addition with the attic over existing first floor. Premises is A zone. I need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Katie motions to approve. I need a second.
I'll second.
Harold seconds. Discussion, please.
It's a non-conforming lot and it's de minimis request.
Yes. Thank you for bringing that one in. Any further discussion? I would simply state that they are not exacerbating any nonconformity. They are not doing really anything other than building directly above their footprint. They're not building any further or even into the existing nonconformity. So let's take a vote. Christine, you're going to be first.
Yes, approved.
Katie?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Harold?
Yes, approve.
And I am a yes. That motion passes. So you're all set. On to number 2, 176 Hurd Street, map 182, parcel 1755, petition of Timothy F. Wagner for a variance of the zoning regulation section 5.2.5 to increase the lot coverage from 30%, currently 31.6%, proposing 33.5%. Permission to construct a new front porch. Premises is B zone. I need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Katie motions to approve. I need a second.
Second.
Harold, we got a pattern. So I need any discussion, please? Anybody?
They got a hardship.
They have a hardship.
They're in the lot and the street frontage.
They have a pre-existing non-conforming lot. They're small on the square. And what they're asking for is both in keeping with the neighborhood and relatively small. I think it's gonna look nice. Christine?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Harold?
Yes.
And I am a yes. You're all set. Okay. Number 3, 145 Mills Paw Drive, map 147, parcel 219, petition of Carlos and Kevin Pecor for a variance of the zoning regulation section 5.2.4 to reduce the second street line on a corner lot from 22 feet, currently 19.5 feet, proposing 19.5 feet, permission to construct a 2-story and second floor addition. Premises is A zone. I need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Katie, got you.
I'll second.
Second, and Harold seconds. And discussion, please. Anyone have any comments?
No, it's over the existing footprint,
Yep.
I believe, and
It's a corner lot, which generally provides its own hardship. It exists as a stipulated hardship. And he's not making anything worse.
no.
Anybody else? Christine?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Harold?
Yes.
And I am a yes. That passes. And number 4, 254 Puritan Road, map 139, parcel 150, petition of David and Stephanie Solomon for a variance of the zoning regulation section 5.2.5 to increase lot coverage from 20%, currently 20%, proposing 23.3%, permission to construct an elevated deck to a FEMA-compliant home. Premise is A zone. Need a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve.
Harold motions to approve. I need a second.
Second.
Katie seconds, thank God. And I need some measure of discussion, please.
Still don't understand the nonconformity or the hardship.
The hardship, okay. Christine?
There's a letter attached to this.
Yeah, you saw that, right? We just discussed it.
So that, I mean, does anyone agree that this isn't a hardship?
So I would not say that there is
Thought I turned that off, sorry.
It's okay. So it's fair to say that there is not a pre-existing nonconformity on this lot. There wasn't necessarily a proposed hardship here. But what we as the board have the purview to hear is the application, regardless of a stated or legally defined hardship, and decide based on the comprehensive zoning plan and everything else, whether or not it is something that we should allow. In
Yeah,
other words,
I know that part, because you've explained that to me before. I'm just asking, do the other people on our board agree that they don't have a technical hardship? Does anyone else agree with that?
I would say yes, unless we can be somewhat thinking out the box and saying being in a flood zone in and of itself is somewhat of a hardship.
Yeah, no, to the chair's point, I'm not saying that, I'm just saying there is no hardship, right? Or no technical hardship, right?
no, the only, like Katie said, the only thing that you could really look at here is the existence of the building in a FEMA flood zone. They have a FEMA compliant home, which requires the elevation of any structure for that space and for space to be used. And in other words, if they want something built onto the outside of their house, it has to be done at that height.
Right. And what did you
Not
think?
entirely
about-
making something up here.
Right, and what do you think of the letter? Like, I mean, obviously the person who put that letter felt that they were not allowed, were told, I mean, who knows what really happened, but they're saying that they were told they would not be able to get approved.
Is that true, Matt?
No, that is not true.
Right, it's like,
It looked to me like this letter was questioning the process, and when they spoke to zoning, they said these are the things you should be doing, then they opted not to apply for variance because of that. They weren't told, it doesn't sound like they were told they couldn't, they just decided, no, I'm not going to because maybe I
I
won't
don't
get it.
refuse an application.
Yeah,
right, but
and
but if you take the letter for what it is, they were advised that they wouldn't get it. But
I don't say that either.
I don't know who would have advised them of that, because we as a board are the only ones that can deny an application for a variance. And unless someone here was speaking to the applicant or Mr. Sarno out of school, which I'm hoping is not the case, I'm not sure where he was given that impression.
right, I'm just reading the letter.
I mean, I think the point too is I think in this letter it says there was no application on file, but clearly there was an application on file. And maybe he'll now look at this and say, oh, well, my neighbor, if, depending how we vote, if they want to proceed with a variance, they can certainly do that. No one ever told them they couldn't, right?
And I
I think they probably were intimidated by the process.
Well, what happened was they have an email from Matt telling them in January what they needed to do, but this is what Matt's job is, to tell everyone they need to.
Right.
It was January 2020.
Right, but that's what everyone has to do, okay. But
Yeah.
I think that you can, my only point to all of this is you can open a can of worms when we start kind of moving the needle on a hard, but I'm.
Well, here's the thing, we've gone through this point again, but there is no needle. There's no needle to be moved. No application that we hear is based on any precedent or anything else. So there's no needle to be moved. We take every case individually. And if their next door neighbor came up tomorrow with a deck that was 1.5 feet bigger, but 20 people came out here and objected to it, then we would take all those objections into consideration. We would take that application on its own, and they may not fare as well, or they may fare the same. But on an application, and in this application, it's existing condition with signatures from adjacent neighbors and the request being what it is, not something that is massive, intrusive, or otherwise. It is the board's purview to grant or deny, or at the very minimum here, even in the absence of a stated or technical hardship.
Right, okay, thank you.
So, Harold, go ahead.
Yeah. This is a deck, And it's being added onto a house. As a deck, it's considered living space, right? Some
Considered structure.
structure, okay.
Coverage, it's considered coverage.
Coverage, and that's where the increased coverage comes in.
Yep.
It's in, towards the rear and side of the house. It doesn't impede on any setbacks.
Nope.
So it's really not an issue for the neighborhood. It's really specific to the coverage
Just coverage.
of the structure of the house, and it is raised. It's not in the front of the house, it's on the rear and on the
Yep.
side. So it doesn't impede any other aspects of the neighborhood.
Correct.
So although it's not technically a, what the term that we used earlier, that it's non-conforming.
Right.
So it leaves the other considerations to come into play for a decision.
Correct. Okay, anything else, Joe?
So, they're replacing a patio with a deck of similar size.
Correct.
Yes. So is being in a flood zone a hardship in and of itself?
I don't believe the law states that it is. However, again, this board has the purview to consider more than technical hardship. We can consider the comprehensive zoning plan and all the things that we're here to look after and determine an application's effect therein or thereon. So if we decide that this is a deck, it's not a big thing, it's not an intrusive thing, they have the support of their neighbors as demonstrated by the signatures they've received. I hate to say it in such vernacular, but they ain't hurting anybody. And this board has the purview to grant an application on that basis. And if you look at it from a logical perspective, they have a FEMA compliant home. That if they want to be able to walk out onto their deck, it has to be raised. And the fact that it's raised means it needs footings. Because it's footings requires coverage. It's a fairly logical progression, and it's not a big thing. So I'm gonna call for a vote. Christine?
No.
Katie?
Yes.
Joe?
No.
Harold?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Measure does not pass. Permit does not pass. And that closes our hearing for today.